King Ata Ayegba Oma Idoko and Queen Omele, rulers of an ancient kingdom, sat upon their thrones, surrounded by the rich treasures of their land. The king's wise eyes twinkled like the stars in the night sky, while the queen's beauty shone brighter than the golden ornaments that adorned her royal attire. Together, they ruled with kindness, wisdom, and strength. The four sons of King Ata Ayegba Oma Idoko and Queen Omele were like the four pillars of the kingdom, each one unique and essential to the stability of the land. The eldest son, Prince Ocholi, was a brave and fearless warrior, with a heart as strong as the ancient rocks that line the river Niger. He was the leader of the kingdom's army and had earned the respect of his people through his many victories in battle. The second son, Prince Akogu, was a wise and just prince, with a mind as sharp as the brightest star in the night sky. He was the chief advisor to the king and was known for his fair and compassionate judgment. The third son, Prince Ogaboni, was a skilled hunter and a master of the forest, with a spirit as wild and free as the animals he hunted. He was the kingdom's chief huntsman and provided for the people's tables with his bountiful catches. The youngest son, Prince Soche, was a gentle soul with a heart full of love and a smile that could light up the darkest of rooms. He was the kingdom's chief diplomat and was loved by all who knew him for his kind and generous nature. Together the four were the epitome of strength, wisdom, courage, and kindness, and the kingdom prospered under their guidance. But little did they know a great challenge was on the horizon, one that would test their mettle and determine the fate of the kingdom. Princess Inikpi, the shining star of the kingdom. Her beauty was like the golden light of the sun, illuminating all that was good and pure. Her intelligence was like a refreshing stream, flowing with wisdom and insight. She was the apple of her parents' eye, and the people of the kingdom adored her. With a heart full of compassion and a mind full of wonder, Princess Inikpi spent her days learning from the wisest scholars and helping those in need. She was a true gem, and her presence graced the kingdom with a gentle elegance. But Princess Inikpi's life was not without its challenges. She faced many suitors, eager to win her hand in marriage. But she was determined to follow her own path. She had a vision for the kingdom's future, one that included peace, prosperity, and equality for all. As she navigates the complexities of royal life, Princess Inikpi discovered a hidden strength within herself. She was a true leader, and her people began to look up to her as a beacon of hope. But with great power comes great responsibility, and Princess Inikpi soon found herself facing a daunting decision that will change the course of her life forever. The king's affection for his daughter was palpable, Inikpi Oma Fedobaba, the tender way he spoke her name, filled with warmth and adoration. It was clear that Princess Inikpi held a special place in her father's heart, and he cherished her deeply. As the kingdom's beloved princess, Inikpi's presence brought joy to all who surrounded her. Her laughter was like a music to their ears, and her smile could light up the darkest of rooms. She was the epitome of grace and kindness, and her father's pride in her was well deserved. He knew that she was destined for great things. He saw in her a spark of leadership, a flame that burned bright with potential. And so, he began to teach her the ways of the kingdom, preparing her for a future that will require courage, wisdom, and strength. As Princess Inikpi grew in knowledge and understanding, her father's nickname for her became a reminder of the special bond they shared and the great expectations that lay ahead. Would she rise to the challenges that awaited her and become the leader her father knew she could be? Only time will tell. The tranquility of the Igala kingdom was shattered like a mirror broken into 1,000 pieces. The once united people were now divided, their differences fueled by the fires of ambition and greed. The land was scorched by the flames of conflict as brother turned against brother and neighbor against neighbor. The kingdom's leaders, once wise and just, now plotted against each other, their eyes fixed on the throne. The people suffered, caught in the crossfire of political intrigue and tribal rivalries. The sounds of drums and war cries echoed through the land as the kingdom teetered on the brink of collapse. In the midst of all this chaos, Princess Inikpi's heart remained steadfast. Her compassion and wisdom, a beacon of hope in the darkness, she knew that the kingdom's salvation lay not in the power struggles of men, but in the unity and strength of its people. But how could she, a lone voice in the wilderness, bring peace to a land torn apart by strife and division? The fate of the kingdom hung in the balance. As Princess Inikpi stood at the crossroads, her destiny awaiting her choice, would she find a way to heal the wounds of her people, or would the kingdom succumb to the darkness that threatened to consume it? The Bini warriors, like a swarm of locusts, descended upon the kingdom, leaving destruction in their wake. Their armor glinted in the sunlight, their swords and spears at the ready, as they sought to claim the land for themselves. The people, once living in peace, now cowered in fear, their homes and livelihood under attack. The streams, once crystal clear, now ran with the poison of war, their waters choked with the bodies of the fallen. The farmlands, once green and fertile, lay barren and scorched, the crops trampled by the feet of the invading army. Princess Inikpi, her heart heavy with grief, knew that something had to be done. She could not stand idly by while her people suffered. Her land was ravaged and her culture destroyed. She knew that she had to find a way to stop the Bini warriors, to drive them back and restore peace to her kingdom. But how could she, a young princess, stand against such a formidable foe? The fate of the kingdom rested on her shoulders, and the weight of the responsibility was crushing. Would she find a way to save her people, or would the Bini warriors prove too strong to defeat? The people's fear was palpable, like a thick fog that choked the breath from their lungs. As the Bini forces closed in, their swords and spears sharpened for the kill. The once strong hearts of the Igala warriors now raced with terror, as they faced the very real possibility of extinction. The kingdom's elders, wise and aged, gathered in secret, their faces etched with worry, as they sought a solution to the impending doom. They spoke in hushed tones, their voices trembling with fear, as they debated the fate of their people. Some advocated for surrender, while others urged resistance, but all knew that their options were dwindling like the sands of time. In the midst of all this chaos, Princess Inikpi's determination burned brighter, like a beacon in the darkness. She knew that surrender was not an option, for it would mean the erosion of her people's culture, their tradition, and their very identity. She knew that she had to find a way to rally her people, to inspire them to fight for their freedom and to reclaim their land from the clutches of the Bini forces. But how could she, a young princess, ignite a spark of hope in the hearts of her people when all seemed lost? The fate of the kingdom hung precariously, like a thread about to snap. The king's search for salvation led him to the revered spiritual advisors, wise men and women who commune with the gods. With hearts heavy with concern, they gathered around the king, their eyes closed in fervent prayer. The air was thick with the scent of burning incense as they invoked the ancient powers to intervene on behalf of their kingdom. The chief spiritual advisor, a wise and aged man named Oku, opened his eyes and gazed deeply into the king's. "Your Majesty," he said, his voice low and mysterious, "the gods have spoken. They demand a sacrifice, a gift of great value, in exchange for their aid." King Atta's heart raced as he considered the weight of the request. What could he offer that would be worthy of the gods' favor? His mind raced as he thought of the treasures of his kingdom, the gold, the jewels, the fine silks. Would he be willing to sacrifice his own flesh and blood to save his kingdom? The king wrestled with this ultimate decision. The king's heart shattered into 1,000 pieces as he gazed upon his daughter's radiant face, her bright smile, and her sparkling eyes. Bury her alive? The thought was unfathomable, a horror beyond comprehension. Yet, the oracle's words echoed in his mind, a haunting refrain. The fate of the kingdom depends on the sacrifice of the princess. Princess Inikpi, sensing her father's distress, approached him with concern. "Father, what's amiss?" she asked, her voice like music. The king's eyes welled up with tears as he beheld his daughter's innocence, her trust in him, and her love. "Inikpi, my child," he stammered, his voice cracking with emotion. "The oracle demands a terrible price." He couldn't bring himself to utter the words, to speak the unspeakable. But Princess Inikpi's intuition sensed the truth, and her eyes widened in horror. "No, father," she cried, her voice a desperate plea. The king's face contorted in anguish as he nodded, his eyes overflowing with tears. The fate of the kingdom or the life of his beloved daughter. The choice was impossible, the consequences unbearable. The king's grief was palpable, a heavy fog that shrouded his mind and heart. His eyes sunken, his step heavy with sorrow. The thought of sacrificing his daughter, his beloved Inikpi, was a constant torment, a knife twisting in his heart. His courtiers and advisors tried to reason with him, to persuade him that the fate of the kingdom was at stake. But he could not be swayed. He knew that his daughter's life was worth more than all the riches and power in the world. As the days passed, the king's health began to falter, his body weakened by grief and despair. His queen, his loyal wife and companion, tried to comfort him, but even her love and support could not alleviate the pain that consumed him. In his darkest moments, the king wondered if there was another way, a way to defy the oracle's decree and save his daughter's life. But every path he explored led to a dead end. Every option seemed impossible. The fate of the kingdom and the fate of his daughter seemed inextricably linked, a cruel and unforgiving destiny that could not be avoided. Princess Inikpi's concern for her father was unwavering, her love and devotion driving her to uncover the truth behind his sorrow. She approached him with gentle care, her voice soft and soothing. "Father, dear father, what ails you? Your heart is heavy with grief, and your eyes are dimmed with tears. Share your burden with me, that I may help shoulder the weight." The king, his eyes welling up with tears, gazed at his daughter, his heart torn asunder by the conflicting demands of his role and his love for her. He knew he couldn't reveal the truth, couldn't bear to tell her that her life was the price demanded by the oracle. But he couldn't resist her compassion, her empathy, and her unwavering support. She knew her father's heart, and she knew that his sorrow was deeper than he was letting on. She vowed to uncover the truth no matter the cost.